Welcome to Evolution on the Mic. I am your host, Ariana de la Cruz.
And I'm your co-host, Antoine Dove.
And we are back, y'all. Season 7, Faith in Yourself. Episode 7. You've got this because God's got you. In our last episode, we explored how your voice matters and how it's meant to align with what God has already spoken over your life. We unpacked how your words shape your reality, how the enemy tries to distort them, and how God's faithfulness continues to protect you. Your voice was created for something sacred, and we left you with this powerful question. Are you speaking life or are you limiting it? That was a very powerful, amazing episode that we had. I was definitely in it wholeheartedly. I know I got a little emotional in that episode because God knows that, there's times where I was definitely limiting life with my voice and my speaking. And I am, in my own journey to speak life into myself and not limit it. So it was definitely powerful, touching. So if you missed that one, I highly recommend, if you're in a place where you're having struggles with speaking positivity and being a positive force for yourself with your speech, I definitely recommend that you watch it because we gave a lot of gems and what that means, as people of God, to speak life into our circumstances. In today's episode, though, we're going to be talking about what it truly means to trust in God's grip, even in the moments when your own strength feels like it's running out. For anyone feeling overwhelmed, uncertain, or maybe even like you need to be in control of everything in this season that you're in, this episode is for you. So stay tuned in, locked in. And before we get into all of that, Antoine, how you been? How's your week? How's everything going with your daughter?
Oh yeah,
What you guys been up to?
it's been a whirlwind. I forget oftentimes um how much it takes to be a parent, and being involved in all the activities and running from camps to here and there. And so it's been definitely a shakeup for my life, but a good one, a much needed one, to be able to spend that time with her, us have fun. We've been spending some time in the pool this summer. So I've been working on my tan. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm working on my
I see you.
tan. But we've been having a good time. It's been definitely a highlight of my summer so far. I always enjoy having her around. I always enjoy us getting to just spend time together as dad and daughter, and learning about her life, things she's doing. I mean, kids grow up so fast. Every time I feel like each
Yeah.
summer I see her, I spend time with her on these breaks. She's matured into such more of a young lady as she's growing
Mm-hmm.
up. And it just reminds you of how important time is. And, I don't want to take this time that we have together for granted at all. But I'm excited. Yeah, summer's here. We are going to maybe try to make it to the beach at some point this year in this
Is the beach
summer.
close nearby you, or
It's
is
close
it?
enough. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about an hour and a half from where I'm
Oh,
at, so
that's
we can.
far.
No, that's like a day trip.
Well, yeah,
That's a
that's like
day
when I was in
trip,
New York going to Coney Island. It was like an hour, to get
right?
there from. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a day trip. Like we can go there and come back same day, and that's ideal, right? So like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm happy she's here and happy to
Awesome.
be full swing of the
I'm sure
summer.
she's not gonna want to leave when it's time for her to go.
I don't know. She's at the age now.
Really?
They like their friends. She it loves being around dad, but also she misses her friends and she wants to see her friends. And so I don't know. Like she tells me she loves me and she'd love to be here, but also she tells me how much she misses her friends. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, how long she's been there? What, like a month now, or?
She came Father's Day weekend, so she's been here for about 2 weeks. So it'll
Oh,
be like
okay.
2 weeks this week, so not too long.
Oh,
But
okay.
so we're just getting started. Summer's just kicking off.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I hope you guys, plan a lot of cool, amazing things, because ultimately it's all about the memories, you know what I mean?
For
That she
sure.
can take with her, you know what I mean, forever, and taking a lot of pictures.
Yes.
Hope you guys are doing that because, even though sometimes they're like, well, I don't really look this good today, girl, you want to take a picture, but it's just amazing when you can look back, even in the pictures where you're looking a mess, just to have them and be like, oh my God, look how young you were.
Yeah.
Look how I looked, you know what I mean? I think that's great. So I hope you guys, continue to have a good time and planning some amazing things.
For
I'm
sure, for
excited
sure.
myself because my best friend is coming to visit me in Costa Rica. She's
Who's
actually
coming?
coming in Lavelle.
Lavelle. Oh,
Yeah, you
I
guys
miss
know Lavelle.
Lavelle.
She was here as a guest speaker
I
last
remember.
season.
I remember.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have her, and she's gonna be here for a couple days, and we have a few things planned that we're gonna do, and then I'm just so excited to have her here, and that she made it happen. She's was able to get her passport and come, and she just without question, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I had to be like begging. It was like something that she really wanted to do. And I'm excited for that because I've been here 3 months now, right? Over 3 months
Yeah, it's
now
like three
that I've been
months.
here,
Is she
three,
the
four
first person to
months.
visit you since you've been there?
Yeah, yeah.
I
I have a
love
few
it.
people wanting to come in and visit. She's the first one to actually make it happen. So I'm excited for everything that God is gonna do in our lives here together. I really feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a numerology person, as you know, and I've been seeing a lot the numbers 10, 10, 10, and I looked it up this morning, and it said the spiritual um meaning is like things coming to a full circle, like
Huh.
like new beginnings, like transformations, like things closing and the other things opening, like just a complete um new beginning. And I
Yeah.
know that there's a lot of things that, me and Lavar are going to do together in our lives. And, she's a big person in the things that I want to do with my future, specifically pertaining to Mentors Way, which is, I feel like it's my life calling and my purpose and what I'm striving, to do and to see happen. And I feel like, she's going to play a pivotal role in that nonprofit and that, foundation. So I'm excited to see what God's going to do with us together here. Costa Rica is a beautiful country and it's full of so much love and good energy. So I'm just excited to get us together here and just embracing and everything that this country has to offer with his amazing energy. I'm excited for her. I'm excited for me. I'm excited for us.
The pura vida.
And yeah, living the pura vida life. I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, girl, this is your vacation, but it's totally my vacation too. I've been telling all my clients I am off tomorrow. I'll be back Monday. Like I'm off too, So it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. I typically don't take off like that, but this time I'm like, no, I think it's needed. It's very
Yeah,
much needed.
for sure. For sure. You definitely need that. That recharge time
Yeah,
is important. So
absolutely. To come back even stronger for the podcast and everything else in my life.
So what's going on with us on this podcast today? What's on your mind, Adi? Like what's on your mind? I mean, it's been what a week or about few weeks since we've
Mhm.
last chatted and caught up. Like what's new in the what's on your mind? What's God been placing on your heart lately? Where are you at?
I mean, like we mentioned, like the name of this show is, you got this because God's got you.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I think about that, I think about how we tend to think that we got this
Mm.
from a standpoint of maybe egotistical, right? From ego, from like I gotta be in control and I got this and I know what to do next and I'm gonna figure it out, right? All the while leaning on our own understanding, on our own strength, on our own, minds, and truly leaving God out of it. But I choose to believe that, we got this, I got this, you got this because God's got you, right?
Mm.
And for me, that means that God is in front of me, right? God is in front of me. God is behind me. He has my back. Like God is with me. God has ordered the steps for me. God is in front of me. I am being led by him and I just follow what he says. So I do got this, but it's because God's got me. I don't got this on my own, you know? So that's kind of like what's in my heart because there's times and moments recently where I have kind of been struggling with, understanding God's grip in my life, right?
Mm.
Understanding that he has a grip and I don't have to be in full control of it, that I can trust that grip that he has. Like God is in front of me. He's been ordaining my steps. He has been calling me to do the things that I've been doing. He has been allowing all the experiences to happen in my life, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? The things that have caused me pain, the things that have caused me happiness. It's all really working in part of a bigger plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
His bigger plan for me. And I tend to forget that. And I'm sure that a lot of people watching have also maybe forgotten that God has maybe ordered your steps, and you know that God is before you, but then you tend to feel like, well, I got to be in control of this. You know what I mean? I feel like, I'm running out of strength. I feel like I'm running out of time. And it's like you just feel like this isn't happening, and you get in your own way, and you get into self-preservation mode, self-reliance mode. And I just feel like that's just a recipe for a major distraction and a major, you kind of going left with everything
Mm-hmm.
that God is asking you to do. So that's kind of like what's been in my heart, because specifically for me, I already know, like, as you guys know, I've always talking about this, that God has a calling on my life when it comes to my vision of Mentors Way, right? A
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit organization that helps youth and adults with their belief systems, that helps them understand, that anything is possible with God, because from where I came from to where I am now, it's clear that God has his hand, and has had his hand, and still has his hand in every step of the way of my life. Everything has happened. And when I look back now, I'm like, that was so God. I'm so grateful that happened. Oh my God, I remember when that broke my heart. But thank God that my heart got broken, because then that led me to really get my stuff together and do the things that I needed to do, because I was maybe playing. So
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful for the pain. I am grateful for the struggles. I am grateful for the trials. I'm grateful for the happy moments. I'm grateful for it all. But looking back at my history and my life, I can see God's grip has always been in every single little aspect, the good, the bad, and the ugly. However, there's moments now that the good, the bad, the ugly is being experienced. And I feel like maybe God's grip isn't in this now. Maybe I need to step in and take action and take control. And maybe I should be doing this, and I'm going to be doing that. What am I missing? Have I missed something that God asked me to do? Did I take a wrong turn? Right? Because when things aren't going according to what I think they should be going, or they're not as further along as I think they should be right now, you know what I mean? Having this dream for so many years. And, I'm still in preparation phase, as I like to call it. It's like, okay, I'm continuing to being prepared. I'm continuing to prepare. I'm continuing to do all the things that I need to do. But then there's moments where I feel like, I'm losing strength, where I feel like I'm running out of time, where I feel like all these things that I want to come to pass, maybe I've missed the mark. Maybe I took a wrong detour, and I took a wrong turn somewhere on this path. And I don't know, God, if this is still gonna happen. And it makes me want to take control over it, because I feel like things are just rocky, and things are not happening in the way that I think they should be. And that leads me to a question that I want to raise, maybe, to you watching, and also, to, you and me, Antoine, is, if God has already gone before you and ordained your path, why are you still acting like the outcome depends entirely on you? And I think that, that question is powerful when you really sit down and think about it. If there is something that God has already called you to do, if there's something that that is already like a vision that you have, like something in your intuition that that God has already placed in front of you and has been ordained, then why do you feel like you need to take control over everything? Why are you feeling like everything depends on you?
I think that question is, you're right. It's a powerful question. And as you were saying it, I was soul searching myself, because I think I've found myself in situations like that as well, where God has, and it could be anything. Maybe God has told me, when we all started this episode, like how the podcast got started, right? Like, I lost my job, and God's telling me to do some things that are very
Mm,
uncharacteristic for what I thought my life should be, or the direction I should be going in. And God was ordaining and constructing a path for me that I couldn't see yet. And I was confused. I'm like, God, like, where are we going? Like, you're taking me down this back road wood branches everywhere, like figuratively, not truly, but like you're taking me down this road that is unpaved. I haven't been here before, and you're asking me to do something different. But in those moments, it's God really testing you to see how strong is your faith, how
Yeah.
strong is your trust in me. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, what I learned through that experience, and I still have those moments today that God takes me down those paths. What I've learned through those experiences is that each time God takes a left, there's a reason. And that reason is preparation. He's preparing you for something. And so instead of wanting to almost like grip the wheel, I don't know, do you have a car or have you ever driven a car that has that
Mm-hmm.
lane, what do you call it, that lane assistant where if you're starting to swerve out of your lane, it automatically like readjusts? It's kind of like that. Like if we start to swerve out of our lane, we automatically want to kind of fix the steering wheel and readjust. In some cases, that veering that's happening is just God trying to take us someplace different. He's just trying to navigate us somewhere different because
Mm-hmm.
there is something that we need to do to prepare for the next step that he's putting us in. And if he doesn't cause us to make that left, then we'll stay on the same path we're on, which won't get us any closer to where he's going. And that's been my experience. I don't know about you, Ari, like what your experience has been, but that's been mine of why I feel like oftentimes I want to have control is because I just don't know. I don't know where God's taking me. And if you're someone that needs to know or would like to know so you don't wander aimlessly, you almost resist. At least I find myself in that way. I tend to resist, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. We all tend to resist, especially like in my situation, and maybe for the viewers watching, like maybe you feel like, you feel like you've done all the right things, and you feel like, where you're at today in your life, you feel like you've done all you could. You've made the right steps, you've listened, you've obeyed, you've sacrificed, and you're like, wait, now things are seeming like rocky, like things are feeling like they're like running through my fingers, like what's going on? And what I'm believing for is that God is taking you and me to another level.
Mm.
And that other level, kind of like what Antoine is saying, is like the car that, is veering to the left. And we feel like, no, it has to stay on this lane because this is what I'm used to. This is what I know. I know this path very well. And God is like, what? To another path, because that path is going to take you to a higher dimension, to another level in yourself. I'm trying to grow you. And in that growing, there's going to be pains, right? There's going to be discomfort. There's going to be a level of uncertainty because, we've been in emotion doing what God is asking us to do. And we feel like, okay, we've done and we've been doing, kind of like Antoine, how you were saying when we started the podcast, we were on a high when we started. We felt like we knew 100% God ordained the steps to do this podcast. And, everything is in alignment. And, God wants us to be stewards of him, to showcase, his glory and what he can do in our lives and what he can do in the lives of others. And, evolving on the mic, evolving as we talk, evolving as, we're growing and showcasing that, right? But then time started passing and we were like, hold on, you know what I mean? We're not really getting much viewers. We're still working on our viewers. I mean, we've been doing good, but it's still not where, we'd like it to be. But I believe is exactly where God wants it to be, But in the beginning, we were certain. We were like, yeah. Now it's like, wait, God, like, what's up?
Yeah.
What's going on here? We don't really see the path the way by now, almost a year and a half, over a little over a year and a half that we've been doing this and very dedicated to it, where maybe we thought it would be. But that does not deter the fact that this podcast is going to be something amazing, that this podcast even today is impacting people that are consistently watching. I believe that there's people that's consistently watching. I don't need it to be 100,000 viewers, so I can feel and you can feel like Antoine that this podcast is something. I know that there's a handful of people watching and it's transforming them, right? That it's helping them grow, that it's helping them see things from a different perspective, that are bringing them closer to God and helping them heal and understand who they are and understanding their purpose and getting the strength to continue each and every day in their path that God has called them. But the thing is that we could be doing all of this and feeling like, well, now things are getting rocky. I don't really see it. Things are not happening in the way that I really, really want. And we want to give up, or we want to step in and take control. And little do we know that God is just making things a little rocky because there's something else that we need to pay attention to, right? There's something else that maybe we need to be doing to elevate our skill, to elevate ourselves, to go into to be able to be in alignment with the new path and the new alignment that he has for us. Like there's something there that we need to maybe work on. But
Mhm.
instead of viewing it like that, we view it like something must be majorly wrong because I was so used to doing certain things, thinking that it was going to reap me this. And now it's feeling a little icky. It's feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I'm being challenged in a way that is too much for me. Right.
Yeah, no, and I get that. And so, Ari, one of the things that came up even on the same question, I don't know, I'm about to show my age on this one, so forgive me. But I don't know, like growing up there on, how you used to have the front plates on cars. Now, if you're from the Northeast and other places, usually your license plate is also on the front of your car. But in the South, you didn't always have that. Sometimes you can put these other plates on the front of your car. And there used to be this plate that would read, God is my co-pilot.
Mm,
And I remember, and it's my mom, I don't know if it's my mom had said it or maybe I heard it in church one day or something, but they were saying how that plate should be changed from God is my co-pilot to God is my pilot.
mm,
And when I think about this question, the thing that was coming up for me, even as you were, sharing your experiences, your examples of what you've been through, and setting up for Mentors Way and the preparation phase that we're going through, is that one of the reasons we are still acting like the outcome depends on us is evident in just that saying, God is my co-pilot. We still feel like we have to have our hands like all in it, when in reality, God's the pilot. When you go to fly someplace, you put your trust in the pilot to take you wherever you need to go. You sit in the back with your feet kicked up, eating your peanuts and drinking your Sprite or Coca Cola, whatever you have. And you're not worried because you have your trust and where the pilot's going to take you. You don't feel like you have to go and get your aviation license or understand how to fly a plane to get to where you need to go. You just trust that God's going to get that the pilot's going to get you there. It's no different, right? Like this feeling of us wanting to have this control is really coming down to a huge mental shift in our own selves. Like we have to shift how we look at God. God is not our co-pilot. God is leading the way. And part
mm-hmm,
of that trust of us putting it in him starts with recognizing him for who he is. He's not our co-pilot. He's our pilot. He's taking us down the path. He's showing us the direction and things that we need to go. And if you're someone who, and I found this, I speak for myself, I found myself in this place sometimes in life. If you're someone who maybe you've been let down by people, maybe there's things you've done in your life and someone let you down, or you've depended on someone and they didn't come through, or you've trusted someone and they broke your trust, and you've reached a place in your life where you're just like, I'll just do it myself. I'm not going to trust anyone. I'll just do it myself because I know that I'll get it done. This is one of the many times or few times or however you want to look at it in your life where you can 100% trust in God and what he's going to do in your life for you in the guidance. And so it's important to remember that your strength isn't just yours. When we start in our journey in our relationship building with God, we grow not only for our own personal strength, but we also grow in our spiritual strength in our relationship with him. And I believe that it's important for us to keep that in mind as you're going through some tough times, as you're going through that preparation phase. There are going to be some tough times where you're going to feel like you don't have enough energy to push through, or you don't have enough strength within yourself to get on the other side. And that's where we lean back. That's when we say, hey, God, I know you're here with me. Hey, God, what's that next step I need to go? Hey, God, what are the things I need to? And as you ask him those things, and you listen intently, he will tell you when it's the next step, even if it's one step, as Ariana has said in the past, even if it's just one step, he will tell us what we need to do to move to that next piece. And so I don't know if you had kind of felt that as well, Ariana, but like, I think for me, speaking for myself, you know, the reliance of feeling like I have to be in control starts with me understanding God's my pilot and that the strength that it takes is not just mine. The strength is a combination of my strength and the strength that God is pouring into me through him to do what I need to do to get to that next step.
Yeah, no, for sure. It reminds me of this saying, like, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Hmm.
And that reminds me of, when I was getting my master's degree, because as you guys know, I'm a high school dropout. I wasn't a fan of school. I was not a fan of learning. A lot of my family members and friends thought that I would be a bum and a loser because I just wasn't motivated to really be anything in life. And that really showed through my actions as a teenager. And, it caused me to drop out of high school because I was just uninterested, And when I think about getting my master's degree, there was, a lot of times I'm like, God, I'm not, qualified to get a master's, I'm not qualified to, the things that you want me to do with Mentors Way and lead people and become someone of major noteworthy success. Like, God, not me, this unmotivated girl over here that was uninterested in learning anything, except, you know what I mean, how to mix vodka and orange juice and and make a great drink or whatever. I wasn't interested in learning much outside of that. And God really helped me get through that master's program. I got my master's in leadership and I really felt called to get it because, I knew innately that I was meant to lead, even though I didn't feel qualified to lead. Like, I could barely lead myself for anything. And I can see looking back now that, God qualified me because he called me to the things that he has asked me to be in this lifetime, right? There's a calling on my life, right? There's an ordainment on my life. And he's qualifying me because I'm called, not just because, I was qualified to begin with. Because God knows, and everybody that knows me back in the day knows that I was not displaying any qualities of leadership. I was not displaying any qualities of, higher education or an ability to speak life into people and to inspire people. Absolutely not. But God qualified me, and that's what he does, because it's his strength that we lean on. It's not our own. On our own, we are batteryless, like we don't have the battery. God is our battery. God is our power source, right? And when that power moves through us, there's nothing that we're incapable of doing, of achieving, of having, of accomplishing. There's nothing, but it's that understanding of he is our source. He is our power. We're not operating on our own. We have divine backing in God every single day and every single little thing. And everything that we want can come into fruition with that mindset, So that's kind of where that takes me, that I wasn't relying on my own strength. If I was relying on my own strength while I was getting my master's degree, I wanted to quit before the first semester was over. 3 weeks into the program, I felt death was easier than getting through this master's degree program. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be easier at this point because it just felt like this overwhelming big burden that I could not do it. I really felt like I couldn't. Like, I kept telling myself, girl, you're not qualified to get a master's degree. Do you know how much writing you have to do? Do you know, like, you have to, like, read books and then, like, write about what you read and have citations and write 20, 30, 40 pages at a time within, like, maybe a week time frame. Girl, who said you could do that? But God said I could do it. And he placed the people and the resources in my path to tutor me, to help me to understand, how to write an essay, how to extend and how to add on, and you know what I mean, how to make a 20-page paper come to life, and I became really good at it over time. But in the beginning, my heart hurted. I was in pain. I was exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually. I just couldn't with my own life at that point, but I'm so grateful that God, that his strength gave me the rejuvenation that I needed to keep going one day at a time. You know what I mean? Like, one day at a time, getting the right tutors, the people that would have patience with, my slow learning abilities. And, to get to where I was at, that when I graduated from my master's degree, I graduated with a 3.96 GPA. you know what I mean, close to a 4.0 or damn near a 4.0, you know, and I was not able to do that on my own. That was all God. That was all his strength. That was all him carrying me through it, you know, placing the right people and places and things in my path to help me get the skills that I needed and the learning that I needed in the right way so that I can excel and do good. You know, all I had to do was be obedient, was take one step at a time, the steps that he asked me to take, right? The people that he asked me to ask, hey, can you tutor me? Like that was all him placing all those things and the opportunities. And all I had to do was follow in that and be obedient, right? And kind of, you know, I don't want to say die to myself, but like put myself in the back burner, you know, because like we're saying, you know, you got this because God's got you, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I had to take myself out of it. Like, girl, you don't got it. You got it because God's got it. And he's ordaining the steps and he's, you know, the one in aligning things for me. And he's the one that's, you know, putting things in my mind to do this and to do that and try this. That was all him. And I was just following, you know? And thinking about that, you know, I'm sure that there's people watching right now that is maybe in that same similar situation where maybe you're not feeling like you're qualified. You know, you're feeling like, you know, God is asking me to do X, Y, and Z, but God, I don't think I got it. I don't think I'm, you know, smart enough for that. I don't think I have the skills for that. You know, I've tried a few times and I utterly failed at it. And I'm here to tell you that, you know, he qualifies the called. If
Mm-hmm.
he called you to do X thing, he is going to equip you with what you need to get through it. He's going to equip you with what you need to make it happen. And you just need to trust that. And you just need to rely on his strength and not your own. Turn your whole self like battery off and turn on God's battery and plug it into you. Because you know what I mean? That is the only way that you are going to feel like you're not drowning, that you're not overwhelmed, that, you know, you have clarity on what you're doing is when you are plugged in and tuned in his power and you are connected to that source, because it will rejuvenate you, it will elate you and make you just feel all sorts of things within you that like I'm unstoppable, like I could do this. But you're having that understanding that I could do this because I'm, you know, who you plugged into, you know, who you in alignment with, you know, who you connected with, you know, who is the pilot taking that plane, which is you taking this body to where it needs to go. And where it needs to go is in your purpose and is in alignment with what God has for you, because, you know, God wants to partner with us for his glory, right? So when we think of it in that way, it's kind of like, huh, you know, like I don't have to fear. You know, I know God is with me and God, you know, is going to strengthen me and he's going to help me get through it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the verse in Isaiah 41:10, do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen and help you. And that couldn't be no further from the truth. You know,
Yeah.
God will help us, God will strengthen us. He will aid us in everything that we want to see happen. And there really is nothing to fear. And when we think about it in that way, it's like a relief, like, oh God, you got it. You know what I mean? I thought for a second I had to have it. But you know, God, but you know, Lord, that my strength was withering. But thank God that I don't have to rely on my strength. You know what I mean? I can rely on you and that you can help me get through, and you will. And he's done it and he will continue to do it. And there's nothing that is unachievable and unattainable when we have that mindset and we allow God to come in and take over, you know, like you were saying, Antoine, with the pilot, you know, driving
Yeah.
that plane. Like we're not gonna step in and try to be like, oh no, wait, you're doing that wrong, do this, do that, make a left here and take us all the way to Canada or something. Like, where we going? We were supposed to go to Costa Rica to visit Ari. Why are we in Canada? Because you thought that you can go into the pilot what to do. We can't. You know what I mean? God is the pilot and he knows best. And that is a beautiful feeling and a beautiful thought that I just feel like, you know, we needed to be reminded of today, that
Yeah.
he got it.
Yeah. He does. And what was so and it just hit me as you were saying it. the strength that we refer to when we say your strength isn't yours and that, God is backing us and God's got us. The strength, we always want to think about the strength as in like some type of physical strength. Like I have to be strong. I have to get through this. And the reality is that the strength sometimes is just support. The strength
Mm,
sometimes is just resources. And you were just saying that, like going through your experience in grad school and getting your master's degree, as you're going through that, yeah, there's part of us that wants to feel, oh, I have to like hunker down. I have to study these long hours. I have to, and your mind's like, I'm not getting this. So spending all these hours is not helping me. And God's like, it's okay. There's resources. He gives you the wisdom for resources. And so I want to also make that distinction that the strength isn't always necessarily in some type of physical grit or some type of you have to push through. Sometimes the strength can just be a resource. Sometimes the strength can just be wisdom. Sometimes the strength can just be knowledge. Sometimes the strength can just be a helping hand, someone who comes along and they're like, hey, let me help you out. And God ordained that to happen because God is the pilot. And that's why we lean on him to guide us and direct us in the way we do. And it's important for us to remember that God is always in control, even when we feel like we're not. Even when we're starting to get to that place where we feel weary, as you had mentioned, Ari, or things like God is always in control. He's always going to give us what we need to get through that situation if we're open and willing to listen. And that's been a big lesson for me is being able to be open and listening to what God's calling me, even if it don't make sense. Like one of my recent things I've experienced, for those that don't know, I'm a part of this organization that's called Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is it's a speaking organization. So like a lot of people join Toastmasters who want to learn how to be better speakers, be able to speak in a way that drives a message, and they have different pathways and tracks that you can do that helps you cultivate your speaking skills. But one of the things that's a part of Toastmasters outside of speaking is leadership. And all of the things people do in terms of leadership for Toastmasters is all voluntary. When you're not getting paid for your time to do these things, all the roles and things you help to
mm,
push these clubs along are all voluntary. And I was approached about taking on a new leadership position within Toastmasters at a more district level. So I was the president for our local realtors club. And I had been approached by some folks at the district level who wanted me to come in and be one of the district leaders. And I struggled with it. Not gonna lie. I'm like, God, one, I don't have time to take on another thing and put another thing on my plate. And two, I just don't see where this is going. Like, why is this something that you're bringing forward? And even whenever I spoke with the person about the role, I told them, I said, look, I can't give you an answer right now. I need some time to think about it. And I prayed about it. And I asked God, like, is this really what you want me to do? Are you really taking me down this path? I don't see it. And in that moment, I was starting to feel out of control. I was feeling like here's something else that's being added on my plate and I don't know where it's going and I don't understand it. Like, what is the purpose of this?
mm,
And what I realized was that I don't have to see the full journey in which God is taking me. All I have to do is have an open and willing heart to listen and do as He's asked me to do. And if I do that and I do it in an obedient way, as we've been talking about all these seasons, if I'm being obedient in how I'm approaching that, I will achieve what God has always had for me. And the best way I can describe it is if you've ever been doing something in life, like I'll give something because you guys know I love examples. As a kid growing up, we go out and my grandmother would ask us to rake the yard. And I remember like raking the yard would be a pain. Pine straw everywhere. You look at the yard, there's leaves and stuff everywhere. I'm like, man, how am I going to ever get through this? I don't have the strength to push through all of this. But what I found was if I just kind of put my headphones on, put some music in, and just start raking and take each step a step at a time, before you know it, time's passed and I've completely raked the entire yard. But as long as I was looking at that big picture and trying to see everything that was there, it was hard for me to fathom how I was going to be able to get through that experience and rake the whole yard at such a young age. But what I learned in that experience was it's not about seeing the big picture. Sometimes it's about the trust. And that's all God's asking us to do. He's like, I just want you to trust me. Don't worry so much about having to see the final big picture. Right now, I just want you to see this small step and take each little step And if you're consistent and obedient with those little steps, you'll eventually reach a point where you'll look up and you'll see the full big picture, which is the plan I've had for you all along.